Lutfun Nahar Lata. Lutfun Nahar Lata, an actress, writer, social activist, and a philanthropist. She born in Khulna, Bangladesh. She is very active in the cultural front of the New York Bengali community through her reciting, acting and singing and reading her writings. Lata lives with her family in Queens, New York City. Lice. Lice? Lice in her hair? What a mess. Second grader Maria Morales's hair was crawling with lice. Mrs. Green, the second grade special education teacher, pulled out a Ziploc bag from the closet and handed it to Maria. Maria is just 7 years old, but, because she is a little chubby, she looks slightly older with a perpetual airheaded expression painted on her face. Maria gave a helpless nod to her teacher as the lice that were plucked from her scalp were put in that Ziploc clear plastic bag, and she was escorted to the nurse's office. She sat forlornly by herself for some time as the nurse called her mother and informed her that she needs to come and get Maria as soon as possible. Maria's younger sister, first grader Gloria Morales, was also summoned to the nurse's office for a checkup. As Gloria entered the nurse's office, she shot her sister a guilty look. Maria, realizing her sister's demeanor, reached with one slightly chubby hand, just slightly out of the nurse's gaze, and took Gloria's in her own. They would persevere together. Both the sisters are waiting with their pained, despondent faces, until their mother showed up. Their mother, Stella Hernandez, works in a small Spanish restaurant in Manhattan. After receiving the call from the school nurse, she begged to her boss to take the rest of the day off, and she ran to the 7 train station as she rushed to her daughter's school. This is not something new for her. She gets call from school almost every other week, because there is full of lice in both of her daughter's thick hair. This is a big problem for her too. She is trying so many ways to get rid of lice in her children's hair, but seems like nothing is working. Stella's life is no different than a lot of other immigrant single mothers. She arrived in the U.S. only 4 years ago from Mexico with her 2 little daughters. Her daughter's father, Jose Morales, lives in Corona, a very diverse part of Queens, New York, with his new girlfriend. Jose deserted his 2 daughters and Stella long ago. Stella had a very excruciatingly painful journey to arrive in New York to locate Jose. But as their first daughter Maria was diagnosed with autism, Jose declined to take any responsibility. Stella was born in a poor farmer's family. She was raised in an economic hardship. Her father had no means to send her to high school. She was sent to work in a store owned by one of her distant relatives in the city, while finished her middle school. She met Jose in the city and fell in love at first sight. The old Mexican society was quite conservative, at least when it comes to the marriage customs, but as they have much cultural similarity and proximity with the Northern American and European culture and heritage, they are way ahead of old systems. Though they would not face a very strict resistance to get married, but sometimes they preferred to remain unmarried. Stella and Jose started living together even though they had her parents' opposition. Stella and Jose never formally married, but they had Maria, and after 2 years Gloria was born. Sharing life with Jose, Stella could not be happy because of Jose's laziness, unfaithfulness and irresponsible attitude. He disappeared right a few days after Gloria was born. Without informing anyone, Jose got entered into the U.S. with a bunch of laborers who was trying to look for a better life in America. He crossed the Mexican Gulf at U.S.-Mexico border and reached Austin, Texas. He had the long strides and many detours, and finally arrived at New York. Back home, Stella with 2 little daughters went through extreme hardship in Mexico, and when it was beyond her means to survive, she boarded on a truck full of fruits with her daughters towards taking refuge in the U.S. She had 0 proficiency in English language. She could speak only in Spanish. With no other skill, she started her life again in this new land far away from her known world. Thereafter her life was replete with painful stories. She started sharing a room with one of her friends in Queens, at 82 Avenue, Corona, in the vicinity of 7 train line. In the beginning, her daughters hardly could see their father. During last 4 years Jose changed a lot. Now the girls were staying with their father in the weekends, and remaining 5 days of the week with their mother. Stella usually gets up early in the morning and puts the books, homework folders, pencils along with some light snacks and juice in the school bag of her daughters. She makes their hair do neatly, making flowers at the end of their braids with the ribbon. Every morning Stella brings her daughters to school and rushes to her work after dropping them off. Maria and Gloria sit together and have their breakfast in the school's cafeteria. Maria likes her school breakfast that usually offers milk, cereal, muffin, toast, apple juice or fruit punch, banana or apple. Sometimes she hides the muffin packet in her backpack for later. She asks Gloria to save some in her bag too. In the presence of lunch ladies she is not comfortable to grab breakfast for a second time, but still she feels hungry. When the breakfast is over, the class teacher comes up to bring the students upstairs in the classroom. During the day Stella makes black beans, tomatoes with rice, guacamole, mixed avocado salad with red onion, bell peppers spraying with a dash of lime juice and olive oil. She also cooks pollo, chicken, corn tortilla, cornbread and soups at work, but even she runs busy with work, her mind remains attached with her two daughters. She can't endure the warp and woof of life. Many days she ponders about moving away, leaving her two daughters behind with their father. She wonders of getting married to Carlos, who has been behind her for so long. Sometimes she wants to show Jose that she can be also very happy by marrying someone who is kind, hard-working and responsible. She grimaces at the thought of leaving her daughters, especially when she looks at the innocent, loving face of Maria. Stella knows the shining heart of her daughter behind that lovely face will bleed profusely in her absence. Stella receives another call again from the school, but she has 2 more stops to go. She feels restless and looks through the window of the train. These days this new problem about lice really bothers her. She has been informed by the school every couple of days. The school nurse, Mrs. Walter, is a very stern lady. Maria and Gloria can't go back to school without a doctor's note. Stella combs her daughter's hair, washes with the lice-killing medicine, and finally cleans with soap and shampoo. She repeats the same thing for the next couple of days, before going back to doctor for getting a note. After she reaches school with her daughters, while the nurse keeps the notes in the file, before she would send them into the classroom. These 2 little girls are quietly experiencing all the realities of life, problems between their parents, leaving behind their birth country, dealing with new places, new school, new teachers, nurses, playmates, constant moves, father's girlfriend, mother's boyfriend and many more. Not only they observe all of these, rather they go through it. They might agree with some of these, or might not agree at all but remain silent about everything. They do not know how to complain about anything, especially Maria. She looks vacant, as though she doesn't have any needs or wants from anyone. However, if she gets a piece of paper, she draws some surprisingly extraordinary pictures. She draws pictures that she's been very ashamed for her lice. Sometimes she portrays the people who look at her with contempt, and think she is dirty or she did something wrong. But one day after lunch, while going to girls' bathroom from the cafeteria, she found a rat running through the hallway. Maria draws that picture. On the paper Maria draws her ashamed, brutalized, sad face, and at the other side of the page, a happy rat is dancing with a big piece of cheese in its mouth. Was this little girl Frida Kahlo? The world-famous Mexican painter, who portrayed her deep pain and anguish with the strokes of her brush. Her paintings shook the minds of 20th-century people. Did Maria draw what she observed juxtaposing on what she feels or observes by her inner soul like Frida Kahlo? It's almost 2 p.m., Maria's mother storms into the school, and signed on the sign-out notebook at the office, before she steps into the nurse's office. Both Maria and Gloria helplessly look at their mother. Stella took the note from the nurse, and left the place holding her daughter's hands with embarrassment. The school is almost over. Principal's voice billowed in the microphone, asking the class monitor to be sent in to collect the letter from the office. The letter will be sent in the homework folder, to all the students' parents of Mrs. Green's class, stating that the necessary steps were taken to the incident, that one student was found with lice. Maria has been absent from the school for a stint of time. Homework is continuously being poured into her folder. Mrs. Green wipes the desk and chair of Maria with anti-germ baby wipes, but it remains empty. After almost a week later, Maria returns to school on the following Monday, with a doctor's note. She was very unmindful. Her glasses has been cleaned when she reported that she is not seeing things well. Maria remains quiet more than she used to be. She can't focus on reading, writing or math. Most of the time, she is putting her head down on the desk, and looking at the books silently, as if she is trying to read the books. She's a silent loner. At recess time when the children were outside, others run towards the playground to play but Maria. She was sitting in a corner and draws picture with a fallen branch from the tree on pitched floor diligently. Receiving a phone call from Mrs. Green, the school psychiatrist, Mrs. Feldman came in and brought Maria to her office. She asks Maria a few times what really happened. Maria looks at her raising both the hands, and with the widened eyes softly says, "I don't know." She repeats the same answer as many times asked. Mrs. Feldman changed the topic and said, "Maria, you look great, who did your hair?" "Your mom did it." Being asked for many times, all of a sudden Maria responds, "Sia's gone." Mrs. Feldman gave a deep look at Maria, and saw, through the parting line in her hair, a gray lice tread slowly. Translated by Dr. Abedin Kader.